Welcome, Leah, and welcome all. We'll go ahead and start our meeting, and since we previously approved the minutes last time we met, let's just skip that because and then I'll take these minutes from the discussion we had, and I'll make them the minutes from this meeting because basically it's going to be just more talk about the same topic.
But you can
So
still
let's
can
go into
approve
old
both of
business.
them.
Pardon?
We can approve both sets.
We have. So no problem.
We're
We
all
did.
set. Yeah. So old business is,
I think seems to me that this getting ready for Earth Day is the trick.
right. So I'm confused a little bit of what roles people have really taken on. Do we have a commitment from Wilson Kerr that he's going to be part of this?
We don't, but I don't see a problem there. I was going to do it with him.
Okay. And what is it you're going to do?
Well,
Um,
it's basically mosquito spray that doesn't involve pesticide.
Oh, mosquito spray. Okay.
And then I think this with ticks, it's the same idea. It's the tick tubes. Although the more I've thought about it, the sooner we get those tick tubes out, the better. Because do you know the mechanism about how they work?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
they
Leah,
take
do
the
you-
cotton to the mouse nest, and the mouse
Yeah.
nest.
And
Then
Yeah, and the life cycle of the tick is such that right now, the eggs that the adults laid are hatching, and then they glom onto mice, and that's where they pick up deer, what's it called? Shoot, the virus anyway, sorry, that they carry.
Lyme disease and babiosis and
They live,
whatever else.
yeah, so as they change from a larva to what's called a nymph, they're on the mouse. And if we have the mouse nest treated with permethrin, then that stage dies. And it's the nymphs that are the most dangerous for people because they're tiny. They're about the size of a fleck of pepper, but they can bite you because they need to get another load of blood. Thank you. To become an adult. And
Oh,
there's and I think so. I anyway, so I think that we should probably do like I think I'm going to do a tick tube thing in our neighborhood in the next week to get them out, and so we'll do that. In my experience, I've done it before. About every couple of years, I put them out, and the best seems to be right around the base of a building. Mice cruise around the outside of a house. In our case, I have them by stone walls. They don't pick up anywhere near as much. They don't get robbed of cotton as much as they do when they're near a house.
interesting.
So are you going to do a demonstration for your neighborhood?
Yeah, and
Could I attend that?
Yeah, I'll let all you guys know when it's going to happen. I'm still accumulating toilet paper tubes, but also paper towel tubes, anything.
So do you want ours?
You want
Sure.
us?
Well, you want them for you, right?
Well, okay.
So what you can do is just bring them, right? And
Okay.
it's going to be a kind of a do-it-yourself operation. I know one of my neighbors has already kind of signed up and said, okay. I told the whole neighborhood, and I said, start saving. I should have done this 2 months ago, right, or 3 months ago, but we can ease into it.
Okay. Is it possible? I was wondering if you can make tubes out of cardboard or if
Sure, anything. I even
Okay.
have some little pieces of plastic pipe which I cut very meticulously and sprinkle them around. It's really stupid, but I did it. And of course, you can reuse those any number of times. But
Yeah.
what a dumb idea putting out plastic pipe when there's all this recyclable cardboard. You just need
Okay.
a little enclosure for it. That's all. Nothing.
Okay.
Okay. So we could just take a piece of like tissue box or something and tape it.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. You could even probably take a tissue box, a couple of holes in it, fill it with that cotton treated,
Well,
put
that's
it
a
on
little,
upside down so they
that's
don't
a
just
little
fly out of the
big. That's
box
a little big in my neighborhood.
they'll
That
go get
wouldn't
it.
go over too well in my neighborhood, be a little too big.
Okay, so you're gonna do spraying and tick tubes?
Oh, on
When
that
you,
day? I think we could. Yeah.
Well, I know we can. I'm just trying to nail down roles that people are doing.
Yes.
'Cause I'm gonna do the dunk. Um,
Well, the dunk's a great idea. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Where did I say that about tick tubes in this thing? I'm just looking at the notes here. Oh, here we are. Janet and Meyer sort of signed up to do tick tubes. Um, yeah, so what I can do is I can bring the permethrin
okay,
because I have a ton of it.
okay. So you'll bring the cotton that is already infused.
I think I'll bring the cotton clean and we'll just do it there. I'll bring a spray bottle with permethrin in it.
I thought it had to dry before you touched it.
No, I think what I've done in the past, I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I take like a toilet paper tube, right? And just put a couple three cotton balls inside it so they stay put, and then take a spray bottle and just go squirt in one end and squirt in the other end. And the permethrin is on the cotton, but it's not on the tube. And then you just like put it in a bag. You don't touch it with your hands. Wear some. I've got a ton of these nitrile gloves. I'll put that down to bring those.
Do we
Um,
need some Ziploc bags that people could put the finished tubes in to take home?
sure, or a paper bag would work fine too. You know, just I think that's a great idea.
I could bring some bags.
Okay.
Why don't we do lunch bags so that we're not doing plastic?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that. Lunch
Like
bags. Okay,
yogurt
great.
bag.
Leo, that lunch bags would be terrific.
Okay.
Okay,
And do
Any
we
old
need
bag,
any,
I mean, it could be just a leftover, grocery bag. It's
do we need any more cotton balls or cotton?
I don't have it, but we can easily buy it, right?
Because I
Uh,
could certainly pick up a big, bag of cotton balls if that would help.
that'd be
Sure.
great, Leah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'll hunt down some paper bags and cotton balls.
yeah,
Okay.
like CVS, the prescription bags are small. You can fit a couple in there or, one or two.
yeah. Any old bag. Maybe what
And
we
they
all
usually
do,
save those around, I think.
like we're all saving our toilet paper tubes now, we can also add add saving paper bags.
Yeah, I just got the little ones. I mean, if somebody's got
Yeah.
a whole mess of them, they could put them in a big bag, but
So I sort of think that what we're doing is a demonstration rather than production necessarily. So a
okay.
person sees how it's done, takes home a few. Um, the only tricky part is the permethrin. I make a mix that's about 2%, and the stuff you buy at like a camping store for clothing is 0.5%. But
Yeah,
I don't think it's a big deal because I've used 0.5% to kill wasps and stuff if I have to, if they're in the wrong place. And it kills them like mad. So my gut feel is that even if it's 0.5% on the cotton, it's still going to kill, um, the nymphs that are on the mice, because they're exposed so well. The commercial tick tubes that you buy are at 4%.
And what do you use basically is 2%?
Yeah, I've got some concentrate that a neighbor of mine, a friend of mine, Bill, and I bought I don't know, about a quart and a half of this 38% permethrin
Oh, wow.
concentrate. Yeah, so I mix it with water. It's water soluble, and I cut it down to 2%. I think that's plenty, but you can make 4%. But at
Well,
that point, it's a lot more toxic, so you have to be a little more careful with it.
I was gonna say ideally we're set up where people can make, at least a few and as many tubes as they'd like, because ideally
Yes.
we won't have everyone running out and buying permethrin,
Yeah.
especially if they don't know what they're doing, or, just safety reasons. So ideally I would think, have enough supplies that everyone
And
could do with a few.
I think you're right. We could have a little handout. This is a good point.
I was gonna
What
say, so
size table do we have?
we have like directions we could print out that maybe
Yes.
people could take with them if they wanted to make their own.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a-
Leah was saying before you came on that Wilson Kerr is doing a talk at 8 o'clock next Tuesday on neonics at the Concord
I
campus.
have it saved in my calendar.
Good,
Hopefully
okay, good, okay.
you don't have to
Good.
go into the office. I'll be there.
Janet Rothrock said she had given Wilson the commercial tick tubes and in pamphlets about it. So we can take a look at what was already produced as information pamphlets.
Okay.
They're good. Yeah.
There certainly are not instructions on how to make it, I'm sure.
No, but they're good instructions on how to spread them around. Good. I like the idea of having a handout on how to make it. Yeah, because there's a did I send you guys that website on how to do it?
No,
I don't
Maybe not.
remember.
Let me see if I can find that. I found a
And are we
it
gonna
was,
have
I
a,
think-
like a poster board or something, or a chalkboard that says what we're doing or who we
that's a
are?
good point. I'm not sure we do.
I can do that. I mean, I have, the two small, table bulletin boards.
Okay.
And there's one side is cork and the other side is, like the pens, you're right.
Okay.
So tell me what you want. Please.
oh, and are you doing willows? Cuttings
What?
of willows?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I've got that down. That's number 8 on the list for me. Let's see.
Okay.
And what was that? Cuttings for what?
Willow trees.
Oh, willows. I'm sorry. Thank you.
And I'll do that this
So
week.
number 2 on the agenda is Lois, you're gonna do poster, stickers,
Wait a minute, Lois.
teaching aids, no mow.
Yeah. And Leah just mentioned the idea of having a sort of a overall, poster
Right.
of what we're doing. And I figured that's part of that. If that's okay with everybody.
Over all poster. Yeah, that's okay. I'm doing the overall poster and then I've got the no mow May, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll leave I think.
And
I think
actually
it's-
for entries on sort of what we're offering, I guess that day, probably this list is half decent. There's sort of 9 items on there. Not exactly each one of them is worthy of that, but that we have something for children. We have the displays. We have a way to make tick tubes. And we've got some information on safe mosquito sprays.
What are some safe mosquito sprays?
Well, my favorite is garlic.
That's right. Okay, I forgot you were talking about, and I
Yeah.
have friends that over by Damon Mill who their whole neighborhood uses garlic.
Yeah, it works. And it's simple and it's cheap.
So is there an
Lasts
instruction?
about 2 or 3 weeks. Pardon?
Are there instructions on how to make that?
Yes, on the container. And I followed them. I've done it, I don't know, off and on for the last 4 or 5 years.
So what container? What's the name?
The one I've been using is called mosquito barrier, but there's others. And you mix not much. I want to say like a quarter of a cup with a gallon of water or something like that, or maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons. And it makes a very weak garlic, because it's all it is garlic juice, with a little sodium, what is it called? Sodium propionate or whatever it is that keeps it from spoiling.
Okay.
And you spray it around and it smells a little bit like garlic bread for about 3 hours and then it's gone.
Huh.
And are there instructions on where the best places to spray?
Yes, they suggest around the edges of yards, for example.
Okay,
Not particularly the grass, but the mosquitoes like to hang around in shrubbery. And so if you put this where they like to hang around, I think what it does is it repels them. And um and I think it also masks their ability to find people because they find us based on a very fine scent that we give off when we breathe. It's the carbon dioxide that we breathe out that
CO2. Yeah.
draws the mosquitoes toward us.
okay. Can I get that at Amazon?
I think so. Lots of places. Let's
Okay.
see.
It's called mosquito barrier. I'll look it up.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, if you need a little bit, I can give you, a cup or a
No,
pint.
one for demo is what I'm thinking is, I think seeing is believing.
Yes, I have a gallon container I can bring with me.
Okay.
And yeah, they run about $70 a gallon, but
Oh,
I bought a quart at one point. Yeah, they're $20 for a quart. It's just a matter of processing that much garlic, I guess.
right.
And actually, we could probably make our own, with garlic, but
Mhm.
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of garlic.
Leah, what
Mark?
are you gonna,
I was just asking, does Mark, do you need any help preparing the willow cuttings or either planting or printing out directions? Anything I can help with?
Yes. Thank you for offering. Yeah. Let me see. I think if you could look up directions on how to propagate willow
Okay.
or willow cuttings, and since we're doing this for pollinators, you could also throw in, I think red twig dogwood is a pollinator plant, a native one. And I have even more of that here than I have willow.
Oh,
Uh,
Rob.
and you can I understand, and I don't know the recipe for this, but I understand you can take willow that you're soaking sticks in water, and the willows give off for lack of a hormone, a rooting hormone into the water. And so if you put something else in there, it's as though you've treated it with, one of those rooting treatments that you get for plants. So if we could combine the willows and the red twig, which don't look at all alike, in the same container, and they could both start to root.
I have a very active growing red dogwood that needs to be trimmed, so I could certainly
Yeah,
bring some
exactly.
cutting.
Yeah, I don't
And
know
I,
what's the size we should prune those little twigs at, do you suppose?
I'm not sure. I guess I could do a little research. And
Okay.
also, would we be starting to propagate these, within like the next couple of weeks, or are we just bringing the cuttings?
I I think we should do it right away because I think it would be better to give people either a tiny little pot with the plant in
Mhm.
it, or probably better just give them the plant with root hairs on it, but it's
bare
ready to
roots.
stick in the ground and it should
Yeah.
go.
Bare
Well, I
roots,
have
wet
a lot
rock.
of pots and some dirt if you want to pot things.
Yeah,
And-
I think we could probably get a little dirt, we don't have to make it a big deal. But I actually I sort of, given the worm thing, right? The Asian worm.
Mine's
Maybe
a
we should
bare
do these
root,
bare root.
bare root
Just,
with a wet wrap.
yeah,
Well, I have sterile soil.
yep.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Well, we could do some potted, and we could also just, if we wanted to, we could just wrap some wood chips or
I mean,
wet newspaper around a bunch of cuttings and just put them in a little bag and hand them to a person and say, okay, go plant these. And they can have all kinds of nice red twig and willows.
I think that's great. How many should we aim for in numbers, do you think?
Oh, that's a good
We're
question.
gonna be there from 1 to 4. So that's
People visited us last year, do you think?
so at least three hours there.
Yeah. Why don't we say we give away 50 an hour? One a minute?
1 a minute. Wow, that'd be a lot of cuttings.
180.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll go for 180.
I want to reserve some.
exactly.
I
And
want to
then any
reserve a
leftovers
few
we can
red
take home
dogwood.
ourselves.
I'd
Right.
like a few red dogwood.
I
In
think
fact,
that,
I was thinking
I
of,
think
said,
my
I
willow
wonder
could
I can
produce,
get some.
I'm thinking of sticks that are about so long,
Yeah,
maybe half
that's
a
like
foot.
you've brought before. You've
Yeah.
brought them before. They're not very big.
Yeah. I should go look and see if the ones I planted last fall survived. Anyway, I'm digressing. I will let's prepare for 180 cuttings of willow and maybe a
Okay.
similar amount of red twig, something like that.
Great. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, it gets everything started.
I know I
Um,
got off topic. I'm sorry.
No, I think
am
it's
I
good.
allowed to contact anyone outside of this meeting regarding, like
Sure.
Yes,
logistics?
absolutely.
So Mark,
Yeah.
I could email you about like
Yes.
coordinating some cuttings.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. I was
No.
on a committee that we studied school buses, and a lot of us went out 2 by 2, and we would go to a school and observe the school bus operations, and our whole committee was about the same size, about 7 people. But as long as we're not a quorum, it doesn't matter. I think recording is happening. We know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, at the table, we can have guests and whatever. Like, it's interesting, to go through this thing about a quorum. And like when we do these table events, basically, technically, if more than, whatever, the quorum could, yeah, I mean,
That's a really good point. We're a quorum, aren't we? Well, we're not
quite
deliberating.
often, sometimes we're not all at the same place at the same time.
Right.
We're like across the room. But, some of it, I said, let them put me in jail.
I think
If
actually
you've
one could
noticed,
argue
there's
that
some things I truly I said, bad word that, and let them put me in jail.
Okay. So
Only
we,
lady goes to jail for
wanna-
sending emails.
I don't want to digress to this. I want to stay on
know.
top with
yeah.
what people are going to do. Stan's
Okay,
supposed to do the how to talk to your landscaper, right?
Yeah.
Who's
Yes,
doing
he
that?
is.
Stan.
Who's Stan and his wife? Yeah, Lynn
Yeah.
or something.
Yes. He's down for that.
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to think about?
That's a good question. Let's see.
Somebody wrote something about pipe cleaners. I have a slew of pipe cleaners. I don't think you need to get any more.
Okay, good.
I don't know. I
sent you today an example of people that they made little rings out of pipe cleaners that look like butterflies.
butterflies. Yeah, some of those I've done.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Did you want me to do that too?
Yeah.
Okay, pipe cleaners and butterflies. Okay. The bees are kind of, they're a little complicated for little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why this one looked really simple and then they could wear the ring.
Yeah, that's real good because I've done that. I forgot about it. Thank you. Pipe cleaner butterflies.
Cool.
And like you showed me the birds. I was like, that's more painting. I think, well, the birds with caterpillars in their mouth, or caterpillars that could stick in their mouth. It took me a while to come up with that. I think with the caterpillars, I don't know about the birds. It sounded like somebody else was maybe doing birds.
Yeah, Umbrella's going to do that.
Okay.
That was it last year.
All right. Maybe I can drop off some caterpillars for them.
Okay.
If I find caterpillars, I haven't found some good looking, really cheap ones. Yeah. So
I have a felt game that is like a blanket of green felt that we put down or you hang up. And then you have all these felt figures of habitat that you attach to the green felt. And then you have all of these insects that you attach to then the habitat
Oh, wow.
that they could play with. I
But
don't know.
how much space do we have? That's the piece that I'm trying to visualize, like how, I mean, sometimes at the library, we just have like a small table that I remember. Maybe I'm crazy. It's not like we have the space like we do Ag Day.
Well, I think if we wanted to, we could probably, well, I don't know if we could bring our own table as well.
I mean, do they provide the tables? Is that I have no, I visited you, I think, when you were at the library a number of years ago, but
Yeah, do you have any idea, Mark,
Pardon me?
whether they provide the table and this?
I think they do, but I'll check on that.
Well,
Let's see.
I'll write Laura and ask her about tables.
Oh, that'd be great. Okay,
So tables, location,
good.
time for setup, which would be noon probably for a 1 o'clock show.
Yeah,
and it's rain, is there a rain? Whatever, or if it's
no, no,
canceled?
there probably is. Let's see.
I'll ask.
I would guess one table would probably do us, right? Or do we think we need two?
Well, think of what the things you say you're going to do and have.
That's a good point. Well,
Sketch it out. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know.
we should sketch it
You
out.
got games, you've got plants. I mean, some things can go down on the ground,
Yeah,
but if you've got things you want to engage in people talking, some communication.
yeah. What do you all think? Do you think we
Well, it'd be
probably?
better to have two tables, but I don't know if they'll have space for that.
Yeah, maybe let's shoot for two, and if we get one, we'll wing it.
Well,
Right.
what size is the table? Is it
I'll-
a cod table or the 6-footers? Or
I would
8-foot?
guess it's this more like a 6-footer because the library probably has that sort of a work table as opposed to a card
I
table.
don't know. I don't know.
I think the last time we were there, that's what we had. And for that matter, if they can't provide it, that's what I would bring. I have one here. That's,
Okay.
I brought it to Ag Day last fall.
Oh,
Right.
okay. The table we had for Ag
Yeah.
Day.
So that's our fallback. If they don't have a table for us, I can bring one.
Okay. And it's a 6-foot or 8-foot or something like that?
It's I think a 6-footer. Yeah.
Okay.
So then I noticed that there's Pollinator Week.
In June.
Uh-huh. Is that in June?
Yeah, that's in June.
Okay.
Um,
We'll put that on. Pardon?
Geez, I don't have the dates with me, but I think it's May 11th. The Minuteman National Park is going to have a week-long bioblast with a lot of different activities. Documenting plants and birds and all of the biomass. So
wow.
just, you know.
Huh.
Wow. Are they just doing it themselves? Are they having guests or what's?
I don't know who the program is. I said I'd volunteer to help, and she knew when she was going to do plant things and bird things and such.
Nice.
So are you helping them or what's the deal?
I just volunteer to help them
Okay.
with whatever they're doing.
Okay.
Good.
Maybe we should have hats or something or aprons when we show up to help somebody that has a pollinator health advisory committee. hat or apron or something.
That is an
Just like that.
interesting idea. I mean, some sort of label.
Well, I think
Huh.
we could just put a sticker on your shirt
Yeah.
with.
But I
Yeah.
was just thinking like something a little bit like kind of recognizable after a while.
Yes.
Mm.
And I mean, I've said this before. It made a real difference when here, just saying it was people from the Pollinator Health Advisory Committee that were doing the winter sowing. That made a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean, it's
wonder if
kind of
we-
interesting. And the Council on Aging, when like you say you're on the Pollinator Health Advisory Committee, it made a difference to people. It's like the ears kind of.
I
I
wonder.
mean, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's how people are.
I know that like Pam and I are members of what's called Concord After 60 because we've exceeded that age.
Yeah,
And they have little, things you stick on with your name and stuff.
yeah.
Uh, I wonder if we could get some blank ones of those and just print up some, on a color printer, print our name and Pollinator Health Committee.
And
That would be
just
very
a thought,
nice.
just a thought that because I found that for me,
Yeah,
I
I think
am
it's a,
surprised that people listen a little
yeah,
better.
I agree with you. And it also makes it easy for us to say something like, well, go talk to Lois over there, right? And she's got the badge, right?
Oh, yeah, by that,
You know what I mean?
whatever.
So
I
that,
have
I
a,
I can try to look around for, because we only need a couple badges. I mean, we can
Yeah.
either do the sticker, no problem, but maybe let me look around too.
yeah,
My husband and I have a ton of like conference badge,
exactly. Yeah, something simple.
oh,
Oh, yeah,
easily
oh
lantern.
yeah, I have a lot, some of those, like,
and
the
slide it
thing
in, or
on the
yeah.
lanyard. Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
something to stick in. Yeah, not a bad idea.
That would work.
Thanks,
There's,
Dave.
and our total committee is 7 people. And we're shooting to maybe add 2 alternate members as well, or new members. I mean, associate members for whatever we want to call them. They would be, I think, members in training. So, but I think it'd be nice maybe if we get them to get 10 or so. So we've got, and make them so, as people leave, we can just slip their name out and put new people on so that we don't have to, so it can be simple.
It just, I mean, I don't mean to make it complicated, but
No, I don't think you have. I think you've pointed out a really useful thing. Because that happens when we're at Ag Day or one of these things. It just we probably did, what do you think last year? We did maybe 4 or 5 events, counting the stuff at the library and
I don't know. I
so
mean, Isabel's been off to and running this year with stuff that she's
yeah,
done.
exactly. That not
But I
even
mean,
talking about what
that's kind
those.
of her own thing,
Cool.
stuff, and
Okay.
supported by others.
Yeah.
You've done a really great job of Isabel this winter.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
I have
Really.
one more workshop to do on the 28th. So,
Do you need help?
no.
Yeah.
And Priscilla finished today with the 6th graders at Elcott.
Wow.
This is the winter sowing
Yeah.
with the jugs. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Well,
Is there anything else we need to do here? Let's see.
Well,
I guess the other thing is that we're moving along a little bit outside of this committee to develop the pollinator pathway chapter.
Yes.
So
Good.
that and that group will be doing more pollinator gardens or meadows.
Okay.
and how can you get involved with that?
Well, we're just getting it set, and then we're figuring out how we're going to do the contacts and the follow-up and such.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it will not be a town committee. It'll be a pollinator pathway. Someone stole my so
I think
Oh,
that's
your
really
sign.
smart. Yeah.
Your sign's gone. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. That's
And I
really cool.
saw you had little flowers today in your front yard.
Yeah, well, they're not native, but anyway.
Neither are mine that are out, but they make me happy.
Yeah,
Are snowdrops native? Can't
No.
recall. Okay.
no, not at all. I think they're Greek
Oh.
or Ukrainian
Oh,
originally.
oh, wow. A lot of the bulbs are from like the Himalayas
Yeah.
or
Right.
yeah, I
Well, the
was
other
really
thing I
surprised.
learned is that bulbs are all treated with neonics.
No, really?
Yeah, they're all treated with a neonic. So unless you order organic bulbs,
Oh my God, I had no clue.
well, that's how they keep them from getting, diseases.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
then
sense.
the conference yesterday, I only got to watch about an hour and a half, 2 hours because I had my grandson family here. But their talks were so powerful. The fellow from the American Bird Conservancy, he talked about treated seeds and how what a small percentage of the neonic is involved with the plant, and most of it goes into the water.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he showed crops that had been treated and then they were overcome with slugs so that all of the plants didn't mature because the natural process of bugs eating the slugs had been suppressed
Oh,
and they
wow.
couldn't get rid of the
Wow.
slugs.
Yep.
Wow.
That was the one that was most pressing, in my mind. Outside, I mean, the other stuff that the Doug Tallamy, chickadees and insects and such, I already knew, but I
Yeah.
didn't know the whole seed, and that they increased the amount of neonic in the seed covering within the last 10 years. So it's much
Oh,
stronger.
wow.
And the group referred to the neonics as the new DDT.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that.
Is this committee involved with anything as far as trying to ban neonics or neonics in Concord or Massachusetts?
Yes.
New Jersey just passed them. Is there anything we can get?
Ah, I knew
Massachusetts
that.
has
I knew New York
consumer.
had, but I didn't know New Jersey had too. That's good.
Yeah,
Well,
under Chris Christie,
Massachusetts has for consumers.
But let Leah speak. What?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what the state in Massachusetts was and if we're involved with anything.
I back, I don't know, back in like 2016, I proposed a town warrant article to ban neonics in Concord. But then I bumped right into a state law which says that towns have to go with whatever the state's regulation on pesticides is. So we changed that warrant to be an advisory, to that the town wouldn't apply neonics to town land, like Emerson Field. And the grounds people said, yeah, we don't do that. So in other words, they don't apply neonics to suppress grubs. But that doesn't apply to, farmers, and it doesn't apply to the golf courses, which are like 3 times worse than the farmers.
I think one of the things there are a couple bills that are
Yes,
in the works in the state legislature, and we should have. I wonder if
that's a good point for that our thing. Maybe we should. Do you want to try that? Yeah.
Yeah,
we
I
should
could
have
do.
a petition.
I'm just thinking that maybe find out what's going on in the state, and
Just have like a little.
maybe we have a petition that people could sign that we could send to the state after that thing on Saturday, on the 20th. I think that would be awesome. It would get people thinking about neonics, and we could also have something. I think I can certainly look into New York, and you've mentioned New Jersey, and just see what they've done. It turns out, well, for example, a cornfield with treated seed at the old levels would produce if you took all the rainwater that fell on 95% of the neonics on the seed gets in the groundwater.
Right.
Like you were saying, Lois. And I took the numbers on that for how much neonics is in, say, a 1 acre field of corn. And anyway, all the groundwater, all the rainwater that falls on that over the course of a year, if it were uniformly diluted, if it uniformly diluted, leached out the neonic, the water would have 12 parts per billion neonics in it.
Wow.
And from what I've read in the literature, even 1 part per billion in the food that a bumblebee takes in as a larva affects its development. And I know that in the case of honeybees, 20 parts per billion in the food of honeybees wipes the hive out. So if you figure you've got like a golf course, is the golf course just south of me, was that Nishotic, right? It's 160 acres, is roughly a quarter section. And they use, based on looking at their pest, the nice thing is that these guys have to file a pest report. And another fellow and I went into Boston before COVID and got the pest reports on a few places in Concord. Two of them were the 2 golf courses. And the Shoddock at that time was using about 9 times as much as the Concord Golf Club. But at their rate, it's say 4 times, I'm sorry, I'm being very long-winded. But basically they're taking a quarter section, a quarter of a square mile, and it's got 12 times 3 or 4, let's say 48 parts per billion in the groundwater that leaches off of that all year long. And so you would need 48 times as much land area, which is what, 12 square miles, to dilute that down to the point where it's still only affecting the bumblebees. And it's colossal. So Leah, you're spot on that we need to address this neonic thing.
Yeah. The
I-
last time,
They
The
also, in the conference, showed where birds had been sprayed and the neurological demise of inability to eat.
Yes. Yeah, they said one treated seed can kill a bird, apparently.
Mm.
Because it doesn't take much. It is the DDT of our time because it's persistent. It lasts years. There was a study done. Do you guys ever watch that program called Car Talk way back when, or listen to it on the
Yeah.
radio? You remember when Tommy would say, "Don't get me started," But anyway, I've done some research on it, and it was the reason that I stopped keeping honeybees, because
Yeah.
they were dying, and I didn't want to torture them.
Yeah.
You can always buy a package of bees, but that's not the point. The point is not to buy a package of bees because they're going to die every year. That's kind of insane.
So I think that's a great idea, Leah, to do a
Yes.
petition.
okay, it leads into the fact that one of the last times Nishotic came to the select board for a permit for alcohol,
Yeah.
one of the I forget which person, I think it might have been Hartman, pushed back, and then somebody else got on board they pushed back about using pesticides.
Mm.
The select board, which is kind of an interesting, like somebody thought, I mean, it's not directly related, but it is, it's like they can hold it over their head. They not approving, they gave them quite a bit of pushback. If I can find that meeting, it's kind of an interesting go around, go back and forth, that the
Is that-
select board people actually pushed back about, questioned them about using pesticides and a bit. I mean, I was just surprised it was like they ever put the 2 together.
Huh. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
missed who was
Well, I
proposing.
think that we need, if we should really, if we're gonna look into this, then we come back around, we're advisory committee to the select board, that would be a good advisory bulletin or whatever from us, that, you know, those pieces of how affected the different insects and water, you know,
Mhm.
the effects of the neonics that are still being used.
Okay.
Because I mean, I couldn't find it last year. I couldn't find any neonics. The best of my ability, I couldn't find any on the shelves around here. And I mean,
That's right.
Massachusetts
They're banned
had
to be on the shelves.
Yeah.
right, but they're not banned for use by professionals with training. And as
Right.
near as we can find out, some of the training is not like, if one person gets trained, they can kind of, for the official training, they can train other people for. I couldn't find out when I looked last year. I couldn't find that out definitively, just how that worked. If only the trained person can distribute them, or is like, once your company is covered, then, you know, the underlings can do it too, or the boss can do it too. I don't know.
Usually, legally, yeah, they're required to keep track of. One individual might have one type of, depends on the state, but one individual might have a certain type of certification, and under them they can have other people that apply under their supervision. But usually, again, depends on the state, they may have to keep track of who would be, who all the applicators are, and they may have to keep track of applicator records, volumes, location, things like that. So,
Yes.
I mean, legally, they're probably, you know, abiding by all the local regs. But ideally, you would be banning things at the state level
Yeah.
for, you know, industrial agricultural use.
So
in
how
addition
can
to,
where do we look, Leah? Do you have an idea where you look for those, the quantities and that type of thing? I could not find it last year when I looked, and maybe I just didn't look in the right places.
I'm not sure for the state of Massachusetts. Work I have been doing with some other states, but
I've
Okay,
done
I'll
that.
try to. All right.
I've done it with Sig Ruse, and I did it. That's the person I went with to Boston. This was back in maybe 2018, 2017, something like that. We spent the morning at Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Pesticide Group, and it was interesting. I mean, I've got copies of the sheets we pulled, if you want to have a look at them, which is where I got the numbers on the amount of pesticide each group was using, because they have to, as you said, Leah, they're required to report what the material was, how much they applied, and when they applied it. They don't particularly say where they applied it, except, of course, in the case of the golf course, it's there. And in the case of a farm, it's at the farm. In the case of a lawn service, it's just how much they applied to their customers, but they don't detail which properties. But it's all done on pieces of paper.
Oh, it's not even which properties, it's just general properties.
Well, for a lawn service, yes, that's right.
Wow.
So I think there's some potential there that to look at and see how we can move something in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it'd be a great thing if the state automated that system so that we could just get online and find out what's going on.
I can dig around, but yeah, I think ultimately, if there's pressure on the state to continue to restrict neonics or other substances, that's sort of the ideal direction to go.
I'm sort of wondering if it might make sense for us to get a hold of folks in New York, for example, or in New Jersey, and say, okay, you guys have done this. What's the model? What model could we do in Massachusetts that would help us achieve the same result?
And I'm curious if there's any other groups in Massachusetts who are, any other, pollinator groups.
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
The American bird, oopsies.
Sally Durkee.
The organic farmer group, they're New England Organic Farmers.
Oh, those are two groups we could look into.
Yes.
And just one other
I'll do the birds.
Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of presentations for about the the eagles and the rapiers and the rat poisons. So I'm pretty sure there's also for I'll look at birds. Somebody else wants to look at the organic farmers.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
I'll
a
try and
member of
do that.
NOFA. I could probably try looking at what NOFA's up to.
Okay.
And what we can do is just, Isabel, as you and I get information, and Lois too, we could email the whole group and just say, here's what I'm finding. So you get a copy too, Leah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and
Good.
I think it just kind of like find out what's happening.
Yeah,
Kind of sat on our hands last year, like after the what do you call it? The homeowner kind of stuff went through, and we haven't
Yep.
sort of really
Yes.
concentrated on finding out the pieces. I mean,
yeah,
like, I watched today with some blow leaves all over the place here, their typical leaf blowing.
yeah,
And I was very upset with that. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever.
no, I know.
Thankfully, they usually don't spend much money on pesticides or weed killers or anything like that. They just don't bother spending the money here. But if somebody ever gave them some, I'm sure they'd have it everywhere.
Yeah.
So they found it cheap enough.
So we should stop, because we're at 8 o'clock. I have been making notes as we've been going along into that agenda, and I'll just send out that, just sort of we can have a reminder. I could probably turn that into minutes for the meeting.
Great.
Okay.
Sounds
And,
good.
this sounds good. And then we'll,
I had something from Ag Day that Steve was supposed to say, and now I gotta find it.
There is a presentation at the library by Ag Day, and I don't remember it at
yeah,
all.
I just got an email on it before we met. I think it's April 11th, something like that.
Sounds
Okay.
about right.
Right.
I can forward that to everybody. I imagine a lot of us already got it.
I didn't get it.
Did you get it, Leah?
No.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
okay,
I don't think I got it either, but
let's see.
I'm trying to think. Seemed like there was something else with Ag Day. Because I listened to the ag people. I don't remember what it
I need
was.
to
If I
get out.
remember, I'll email
gonna-
you.
I'm gonna log off. I've
Yeah.
gotta.
So I
Right.
move with adjourn. Second,
Okay,
somebody,
Good.
I'll
thanks.
second
Bye.
that.
alrighty.
All in
Bye-bye.
favor?
Have a good night.
Okay, thank you.